Well, welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Subculture, the radio show, and right now we're going to continue our look at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival because we've got a very special show coming up on the 19th of April. The person responsible for that show is Jeromaia Detto, who's got a great show called Mush. He is an expert in improv, characterization, and also clown. So to tell us a little bit more about this amazing show called Mush, we thought we'd get Jeromaia on the phone right now. Welcome to the program, mate.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Now, mate, tell us a little bit about Mush as a show. What can people expect to see if they head along on the 19th?
Mush, it's a very silly show, so expect silliness, expect goofing around, and expect a show that isn't too serious. I think it's just about play and having fun, and that's something that we don't do enough in our day-to-day lives. So I've really tried to create a space where everyone can just come and be a kid again. It's like a kid's show for adults, which is fun. Yeah.
Now, one of the highlights of your shows has always been your characters. Tell us a little bit about some of the characters that people might expect to see if they head along to this show.
So along the kind of journey of absurdity that is Mush, you might meet Giuseppe, who's a humble Italian beach boy who's falling in love, and he kind of falls in love with everybody he meets. There's a waiter who is controlled only by claps, which is quite fun to play with. So the more you clap, the higher your chance of getting a nice glass of sparkling wine. Who else is there? Oh, there's the sad man who is sad. He pops out for a moment, and then the play itself finishes with, the show itself finishes with a play entitled The Life of Bin Boy. So we get to meet Bin Boy at the end of the show.
How do you come up with your characters? Like, do you see people in everyday life and think that would make a great character, or how do you actually come up with those characters?
A lot of them kind of come to my mind just from the props that I have around my house. So I've got, over the years, I've been doing this for about 10 years now, so I've collected lots of random bits and pieces, and then just looking at them being like, oh, how can I play with this in a fun way? What's a fun game to play? I become a little caterpillar trying to turn into a butterfly with two construction light sticks on my head. And it's just, what's a fun kind of weird way to interpret this prop or this piece of costume, and then just go from there and see, what can we get the audience to do? How can we engage the audience in an interesting and unusual way and get people to play?
And are you always on the lookout for props? Because I know for myself, as a filmmaker who loves to set films in the 90s, I'm always looking at hard rubbish when I drive past and things like that. Are you always looking for props in places like that?
Absolutely. Every time I pass, a skip bin or a big, hard rubbish kind of pile on the street, just stop and just kind of have a little poke around and look around and see what's there. And then even, online, if something pops up that's interesting, or like at a, op shop or whatever, I'm like, oh, that, I want to be able to use that one day. Even right now, sitting next to me is a small horse and rocking horse that I picked up on the side of the road. I'm like, yep, that one day that's going to be useful, and it's just sitting in my lounge room.
So how long?
Every day.
Yeah, how long would it be for you to put together a show like Mush? Do you find that when you get to that process of creating characters and writing that it comes together quite quickly, or does it take months for a show like this to come together?
Mush was written in about maybe 6 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was pretty quick to kind of put together. That being said, to kind of develop each bit has taken, almost a year of performing it. I've done 40 performances of Mush since it first opened back in May of last year. It's one of those things where some bits can get created in 10 seconds. There's a bit I do with this soft squishy ice cream that I just saw it on my floor, and I was like, oh, why didn't I do this with the ice cream? And that was 2 days before the show opened. I put it in. It was a 1-minute bit. It's interesting. There's not too much kind of development of it before the show. A lot of it is during the show that it kind of gets perfected and finely tuned.
Now, the last few years have been pretty big years for you. In 2019, you were crowned the Australian Improv Maestro Champion, and then you were also nominated for Best Comedy and NIDA Emerging Artist Award at the Sydney Fringe Festival. What do awards like that and nominations like that mean to you as an artist?
It's interesting because there's the whole awards kind of system at festival. I think is really great for recognition. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that kind of fall through the cracks with a lot of the awards and that kind of thing. So it's a kind of, on the one side it's great, on the other side I see so many talented artists just not even getting a look in because there's so many shows at festivals. But ultimately the biggest benefit is that recognition and validation, but then for marketing it really helps you market a show if you can say award nominated or award winner or whatever accolade you can kind of throw behind it, and have those wreaths on a poster or a flyer. And it just, I think it legitimizes a show, or legitimizes an artist in the eyes of the public. So it does wonders in that kind of way, and I think, it's deserved as well. It's great to have that come out of it.
Yeah.
But it's been really great to kind of be like, okay, cool, I am on the right track. People are noticing what I'm doing, and it's getting that. I'm getting that feedback. So I was very appreciative to have those two nominations, and hopefully in the coming years they can kind of level up and I can get the award.
Definitely.
Should be nice.
Yeah, and you've gone international as well over the years. You've been to Chicago and you've been to France to study, and you also perform in Paris. Tell us a little bit about what that's been like, going overseas and studying, but also performing in Paris.
It's been absolutely incredible to have the opportunities to go overseas and just learn from people from around the world, and also meet people from around the world. I went over to Chicago in 2017, and I'm still in contact with people that I met studying over there, and I was in Germany and got in touch with somebody that I'd met in Chicago and organized some improv workshops and stuff over in Hamburg. So it's really cool for building networks. And then being in Paris for 2 years with Philippe Gollier was unbelievable. He is definitely an incredible individual, and it's not only him and what he kind of brings, but also being around so many wonderful people and talented people, and being able to grow friendships and networks through that, and then being able to perform in Paris regularly was great with some friends. We had a cabaret night that was happening, and then different student shows that we were running with all the students from the school. So it's just I think it just opens minds and opens opportunities when you go international.
Definitely. Now, for all of our listeners out there, if you want to head along and check out Mush, there is one performance left on the 19th of April. It's at the Motley Bauhaus, and it is well worth the entry price to go and see this show. So go along and check it out. As I said, it's on the 19th of April at the Motley Bauhaus, and you can grab those tickets from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival website. Jeromaia, what would you like to say to people out there who are thinking about heading along on the 19th?
Oh, I would like to say that you will be very, very surprised with Mush. It's a little old show that's chugging along, and it's very fun. All the feedback I've received has been positive, and it's gotten some great critical reviews, audience reviews. And if you want to go and have fun and be silly and see a show that just leaves you smiling with this silly little smile on your face, then Mush is the show for you. So come check it out.
Definitely. And once again, for everybody out there, it is on the 19th of April at the Motley Bauhaus, and you can grab those tickets right now from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival website. Jeromaia, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. It's been an honour having you on the show, and I can't wait to check out the show on the 19th.
Amazing. Can't wait. Can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for having me.